Hey YouTube, we're about a week out from the Atlantis Harmony cruise, so today we're going to do a quick system check to make sure you're all ready to go. And I'm going to give some tips and advice for boarding day and also some important things you have to do right after you board the ship. The top priority right now that we're a week out, is to make sure you're registered with Royal Caribbean on their website or on their mobile app. It only takes a few minutes, it's really quick. Beyond that, you still have time to take care of a few more things. You still have a lot of time to create a virtual cruise card for your phone lock screen, which is a digital version of the physical cruise cards. This is super handy in case you lose your phone while on board, as well as for swapping contact info with anyone you meet. Next, you look at the door decorations to decorate your stateroom door. If you don't have a ton of time at this point, just get a rolled up magnetic whiteboard, some markers, and get a few photos printed. Finally, there's still time to gather up some party outfits for the themed parties on board. Again, if you don't have tons of time for this, you can just color coordinate to the party themes. For example, you can do green or brown for the Mother Earth party, some bright colors for the playground party. You don't need to do anything super crazy. Just make sure you pack a pair of white bottoms for the white party. In case some of the above seems a little bit overwhelming, don't worry, a lot of these things are optional, and even if you do want to look into them, you don't have to go come up with something super elaborate or super fancy. I think it's more important that you find the process enjoyable and fun. You are going on vacation after all, and if it feels like a big chore to put outfits together, just throw a bunch of shorts of various colors into your suitcase and wear those for the party like I usually do. If you want information on any of these things, virtual cruise cars, party outfits, door decor, I've got videos and articles on them down on my blog, JustJoeyT.com. Next, hopefully by this time, we're about a week out, we should have received the cruise vacation guide from Atlantis. This is a PDF that's got a ton of information about the cruise. I have a confession to make. This was recorded 3 weeks before we set sail because I have another cruise to go on. I'm going on to the Atlantis Prima cruise coming up soon, so this is some pre-recorded material. But usually 1 to 2 weeks before an Atlantis cruise, Atlantis sends out this cruise vacation guide PDF, or CVG for short. It's got a lot of useful information on it. So right around 1 week to go, we should ideally, hopefully, have it in our inbox already, so go ahead and give that a flip. You don't need to memorize or read through the entire thing, but there is some important information in our first few pages. The tip I have for the CVG is that this information is subject to change. For example, there's gonna be a section in the CVG called the Entertainment Preview, and it's gonna list a bunch of entertainment and the shows and different entertainers and things like that. However, just note that the venues, especially the times and the dates for those different shows, are subject to change, and I've been on a lot of cruises where those dates and times do change after we've set sail. Let's talk about packing a little bit, and the one thing I want you to do is make sure you pack a carry-on bag that's gonna stay with you all throughout boarding day until you get onto ship. And it's not gonna be anything you leave to the porter's curbside for them to bring onto the ship for you. But it's really important that everything in this carry-on, it's got everything you need for you to last your entire day well into the night. Things you want to put in your carry-on to set aside for that is your wallet, ID, passport, medication, toiletries, your first day change of clothes, door decor, you weren't able to put those up right away. Anything that's particularly valuable is a good idea to keep with you anyways. Anything that you want for your very first day into the night. But the rest of your luggage that you're gonna have the porters take in for you and bring onto the ship, that might not arrive sometimes until late in the evening on your first day. So everything that you want to have with you, you might need to use on your very first day into the first night, it's best to have that with you in your carry-on. I volunteered 4 separate times. Each time I volunteered, there's at least one person, one guest who's accidentally forgotten their passport at home, or for whatever reason they don't have it with them. So please make sure you double check at all times that you have your passport with you when you're packing, before you leave your house and before you go to the airport, before you leave the hotel, the morning of when you board the ship. Just make sure you have your passport with you at all times. Finally, one more thing to do before we move on to talk about boarding day is make sure you have the Royal Caribbean mobile app downloaded and installed onto your phone. And make sure you also sign into your Royal Caribbean account in the mobile app as well. It used to be that only a couple years ago, it didn't matter if you didn't have a phone even, or that you just put your phone away for the entire cruise. Nowadays, with COVID and also with more things moving online and being electronic, it's gonna be really helpful for you to have the Royal Caribbean mobile app already downloaded and your account already signed into it before boarding day. It's gonna be just one less thing to worry about to kick off your vacation. All right, let's move on to boarding day. It's obviously super excited. You're about to start your vacation, so let me give you some tips and advice to make sure you get your vacation started off on the right foot. First of all, let's make sure you go to the right cruise port. There's a couple in the area. The one we're sailing out of is Terminal 18 in Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. When you register Royal Caribbean online, you'll be given different 30-minute arrival time slots to select, and the one you select there with the best time to arrive in If you registered already and you don't remember which time slot you've selected, you can go into the Royal Caribbean mobile app, and I'll show it right here. For example, I've selected the 1:30 to 2 p.m. arrival slot, so right here it will say 1:30 in my mobile app. I don't recommend you arrive way earlier than the arrival time slot you selected, especially if you selected one of the earlier time slots like the 12 p.m. one. They won't start screening anyone and opening the doors until 12 o'clock. So let's say you are supposed to arrive at 12 o'clock, but you show up at like 10:30 or 11. Just be waiting around for like an hour and a half outside, possibly in a large queue of people. And there's not really anything that's gonna be there for you to do. Your time is probably better spent having a really nice brunch somewhere else and then coming later at your arrival time slot. But whatever you do, make sure you're not late for the cruise. So the cruise set sail will push back at 4:30 p.m., but all the passengers must arrive by 3:30 p.m., an hour before the set sail time at the very latest. When you do arrive at the terminal, when you pull up in your shuttle or the bus or the car, there's gonna be porters all along the curbside that'll be there to take your larger pieces of luggage from you so they can bring it on board the ship for you and then deliver it to your stateroom. Usually not until later in the afternoon or early in the evening, but sometimes not until later in the night. So I mentioned this before, but make sure that you have your carry-on with you. Make sure your wallet, your ID, your passport is all on you. Make sure it's not in the luggage that you're gonna leave with the porters to bring on board for you. After you drop your luggage, you can go into the terminal building. You go through security screening, kind of like you would do at an airport. Then you go up to the check-in counters that Royal Caribbean has. And finally, after all the weeks of anticipation, you're walking onto the ship, you're walking up the jetway, you're crossing that bridge, you're stepping right on the ship. It's a super exciting time. However, before you get too distracted and be tempted to like go grab a drink or grab some food to eat, there are 3 really important things I want you to do right when you board the ship. The first important thing you need to do is to pick up your SeaPass card. This is your key to pretty much everything on the ship. So this card is going to be on or near your door when you first get to your stateroom. If there's any issues with this card, take this up to Deck 5, visit guest services on the Royal Promenade. The second important thing you need to do after boarding is to just give your stateroom a quick once over. Just make sure that the room is as you expect, things are neat and tidy, give the bathroom a quick check. If there's anything that's amiss or you have questions about anything like where is the hairdryer, for example, I'm always asking that whenever I board a new ship. Talk to one of the cabin attendants, and they're usually visiting the different staterooms at the passengers are boarding, and they can answer any questions you have about your stateroom. Finally, the last and most important thing you need to do after you board is to complete the mandatory safety briefing. And with everything moving online, this is now done through the Royal Caribbean mobile app that you should already have on your phone. So make sure your phone is connected to the ship's Wi-Fi network. You don't need the internet package for that. Then you just follow the instructions in the Royal Caribbean mobile app to kick off the safety briefing process. And this is really important because every single passenger and guest on the ship must complete the safety briefing before the ship can set sail. Even if one passenger doesn't fill it out, it will hold up the entire ship. So it's really important that you complete this as soon as you can after you board the ship. Part of the safety briefing process is that you're gonna need to take your card over to your designated assembly station. There'll be some Royal Caribbean staff there that may be wearing a high visibility jacket, and you just scan your key card with them to basically complete the safety briefing. And that's the final thing you need to do before you start your vacation. Once you've done those 3 really important things, now you can relax a little bit. You can start unpacking, you can start putting up your door decor. There's a safe in your room. You might want to put away like your wallet, your passport, and things like that, because everything, again, is going to be done through the key card, so you probably don't need your wallet and your passport with you. And now there's also going to be a set sail party that you can go to pretty soon. On all the Atlantis cruises, there's going to be a party up on decks 15 and 16 where the pool deck is, or like one level above. Not like a dance party, but it's just a nice place to start meeting other cruisers, and you get to watch a ship push back from the port and sail away into the ocean. Finally, to wrap up this video, I've got a few pointers for you that you might find useful during the cruise. I know you're probably watching this a few days before you even fly off to Florida to catch the ship. So you may or may not remember some of these, but they're really important and I think they're really helpful, so I'm gonna give them to you here anyways. While you're on board, every single day you're gonna get a daily newsletter called the Cruise Compass, and the Cruise Compass will have the latest, most accurate information on everything that's going on the ship, including the full entertainment lineup for that day, the exact venues, the exact times. If they have to like move a show to a different day, for example, it's gonna be reflected in that daily Cruise Compass newsletter. And that's also got a list of all the different amenities on board, what time the spa is open and closed, where the spa is. It's got a list of all the dining options on board, and that's like the one section of the Cruise Compass I'm always looking at, because there are so many different dining options, and they'll all have different hours, and I don't always remember where they are. So having that cruise compass to reference throughout the cruise on the different days is really, really handy. Now, it used to be that a cruise compass was a printed newsletter that your stateroom attendant would deliver to you every single night. I believe that is still an option to get a printed version if you want, but because of COVID and because of technology, it says move to an electronic version of the cruise compass. So in your stateroom, you'll probably find a little printout with a QR code on it, and you just scan that each day to get the latest version of the cruise compass for that day. It will come as a PDF that you can download onto your phone, and as long as your phone is connected to the Wi-Fi on the ship, again, you don't need to pay the internet package for this. You can scan that QR code and get the latest version of the cruise compass that comes out every single day. I recommend you download a copy of that PDF onto your phone so that no matter where you are on the ship, you're able to just pull up that downloaded PDF and reference that cruise compass for various things as you go on through the cruise. The next piece of advice I want to give you is that ship time is always the right time. So the ship itself has kind of sort of its own time zone and its own time that doesn't always line up perfectly with wherever the ship is geographically in the world. If you ever need to look up what the time is on the ship, you can look that up either on the TV in your stateroom, or if you have a stateroom where the phone has a little display of the time, the ship time should also be displayed in the Royal Caribbean mobile app as well. Now, this is not the same as the clock and the time that your phone normally displays. Your phone is not going to automatically update with the time of the ship, because your phone actually has no concept of this ship time. Actually, your phone is probably not going to update at all, because for a phone to update its clock, it has to have bars, and you're not going to get bars in the middle of the ocean. So what I usually do, what I recommend is, because a lot of people do have their phones with them, and it's very natural to look at the phone to see what time it is, and you don't want to be bamboozled by your phone because it's not set to the proper time. Every night before you go to bed, just double check what the ship time is supposed to be for the next day and manually set that as a time on your phone. If the ship time changes for whatever reason as the ship sails between different time zones, it's going to be reflected in the cruise compass. There will be a notice about it if on the next day you're going to go forward or back an hour. But again, if there's any doubt, just look on the phone or the TV in your stateroom. Look in that top left corner of the Royal Caribbean mobile app, as long as your phone is connected to the Wi-Fi. Finally, while we're talking about your phone, make sure that your phone is in airplane mode. Again, your phone is not going to get bars and it's not going to get any sort of cellular signal. So to save battery, put it into airplane mode, but keep the Wi-Fi enabled and keep it connected to the ship's Wi-Fi system so that various things on your phone can still work, like when you scan the QR codes to get the daily cruise compass and also the Royal Caribbean mobile app. Now, if you did pay for the internet package and your phone does have internet access, internet on ships is not the very fastest, and you've got like 5,000 people or more trying to use the internet at the same time. So what I really recommend is putting your phone into low data mode for the ship's Wi-Fi network. To help you do this, I'm gonna link down below my website, JustJoeyT.com, where I've got an article that walks you through how to put your phone into low data mode for the ship's Wi-Fi network. Beyond setting the Wi-Fi to low data mode for the ship's Wi-Fi network, for those of you using Telegram or WhatsApp on the ship, those are probably like the most popular chat apps where they would just automatically download videos and photos and whatever and kind of really suck up bandwidth. Down in that article I have on my website, I'm gonna walk you through the different settings to kind of control and limit how much data and how much Wi-Fi is sucking up when you're on the cruise. Alright YouTube, those are all my tips and advice for 1 week out from the cruise, all the things you should be doing right now, and hopefully some helpful tips and tricks for you to get you through to a very smooth boarding day and then onwards on board for your vacation starting in about a week's time. If you're going to be on board the cruise, I will see you there. But until next time, bye YouTube.
Of course.
Where do you steal that umbrella from?